everyone. I am out in Charlotte doing deliveries, and I just was thinking about something that I wanted to go online real quick. Well, it's not going to go online yet.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Shamrock Drive.
I don't know if you can hear the GPS, but it's because I'm on my way to pick up a delivery from a store. So intermittently, you'll hear that. Anyways, this is going to be a really short video because I don't have much time. Regarding Black Lives Matter. Not only Black Lives Matter, but the new Black Panther movement. I know how they were kind of intertwined, it seems, at some point. What if Black Lives Matter could be more of a charitable thing, and the new Black Panther movement could do what the original Black Panthers, at least I don't know much about it, but from what I can see, they were the activists, right? And they were the ones going out and lobbying, and they were the ones going out and doing marches and whatnot and protests. I think if there's some sort of movement of an actual new Black Panther movement, like even going to the original Black Panthers, even if they can work with them, right? And so what happens is that they'll be more organized. They'll obviously
turn right onto Shamrock Drive.
A lot of them will be more experienced, and so they'll not only know what to do, but they'll be more inclined to expect problems, and they'll be more capable of handling that and squashing them before they become an issue. Whether problems with corrupt authorities or just issues in general with authorities, or the problems with people kind of being impulsive and belligerent and going and creating violence out of what's every U.S. citizen and resident's right to peaceful assembly and the right, to petition grievances and whatnot. So protests.
Continue for 3 miles.
And so what happens at that point is it's more organized that way. You can probably get a lot more politicians involved, and you can definitely have investing for lobbying and whatnot. And then Black Lives Matter, regardless if the well-known founders have a problem with it or not. I don't know who they are, so I don't want to judge them. But what we could do with Black Lives Matters is go out and have people to fund programs that address these type of issues, that address, I don't want to say defense attorneys, for a lot of people that went down for drugs. There's a lot of people that went down for drugs, in the major drug busts and the gang busts and whatnot. Disadvantaged communities, which black communities, back in say Tupac's time, and even before that, and even after that, even still sometimes going on now. I'm sure it's not as prevalent, but it's there, But instead of going out and doing the protests and the activism, Black Lives Matter would actually be the charitable aspect of the program, right? So you have your political activism, and then you have your charity program, and the two can work together, yes, but for the sake of preventing an actual race war or preventing further issues and further rebellion, because as much as we hate that people in uniform and it's not technically allowed for them to be activists like that, the sad matter is the sad fact is they do, right? And so when they do that type of activism, and especially when they get belligerent and they start being violent and abusing power and whatnot, it looks bad on everybody, right? So the goal here is to calm everything down, make sure you want your message heard, but you don't want to tear down the population and get declared a terrorist group in doing so. Now, with Trump in office, it could be difficult for a lot of people. He's probably going to be less inclined to forgive right away in terms of offering immunity, amnesty, plea deals, etc., but it can be done, okay? Trump is not he's not as cold-hearted as people may think. He just has this no-nonsense way of doing things. And I have personally been contacted in response to emails that I've written to him in the White House. Now everybody says, oh, well, that's the presidential correspondence team. No, you can tell the difference between when they're actually, if you read Trump's book, Art of the Deal, I just reading that book, and I haven't even read the whole thing because my roommate got mad. He was running for city council in Vegas at the time, and so he threw all my stuff away, and my books went, and so I wasn't done reading it. I had only just begun reading it, but I read a few chapters of it, and so you can tell by the way they're talking. Like, you know what I mean? When somebody composes an email, you can tell the person's way of talking. You can tell their writing style, their talking, their communication style. You can tell the difference with the choice of words and the way they lay it out, etc., right? So I assure you, it was President Trump. Of course, it wasn't this time in office. I haven't written him yet. I wrote him last time he was in office. And Obama also has responded several times to several of my emails that I wrote with ideas and grievances and whatnot. And you can tell the difference because, again, he's written a book that he's published. Audacity is, I can't remember if it's Audacity of Hope or Audacity for Hope or to Hope, I don't know. But that was Obama's original campaign message, right? And so you can tell the difference by how they're writing. Now, Biden, every time I got a response from them, it was the presidential correspondence team. And you can tell the difference, you know? Even if they try to make it seem, you know, like it's them, it's really not. You can tell the difference, like I said. But with that being said, I wanted to share that they're not as bad. You know, a lot of times we just want to curse politicians and I guess just demonize them in every way possible because they don't do something we want or they do something we don't want, you know? And the fact of the matter is it's not that much, it's not that bad, you know? I mean, even if it is, there's always a way. Like, if there's a will, there's a way. And if you really, truly want to do something, you can, you know? But sometimes people just don't really want to do something. Or maybe they're too impatient, or maybe they have, you know, anxiety regarding the issue. And that's what stuff like this is for. That's why we get together and we take advantage of having the ability to indulge in maybe not a full participatory democracy, but we have enough of a participatory democracy in our government structure nationally that we can actually make a difference in this world. And not just here in America. Like, we can actually get together, and if we do it right, we can make a difference around the world. Especially in communist nations. Could you imagine being able to get favoritism by some of their leaders? And then just imagine what you can do. But anyways, that's off topic. That's a whole other video that I haven't even started really kind of figuring out yet. Because right now everything's just super candid. But I've got to get to the point. I have to teach myself how to edit. And I have to teach myself how to code and whatnot. And then I'll be able to go and create a web application that I'm going to put a lot of ideas and a lot of programs, and then what I'm pretty much going to do is just make it to be like an open source kind of, everybody kind of sign up, like, what do you want to do? And then, like, you know, what if you can contribute, whether financially, your time, etc., etc. I don't know exactly what, but it'll be like kind of like a 501k. But, oh, excuse me, I don't want to get into tax code right now. It'll be a non-profit kind of program. Okay, everything will be strictly volunteer, donations, etc. Okay, but anyways, I'm not there yet. So right now everything's just candid. But I just wanted to put that up there real quick with the Black Lives Matter and the new Black Panther movement. And this a chance for a new beginning, guys. This is a chance for a new beginning, a chance to reunify America and to come together, you know? And, like, I mean, I can even see Diddy coming out of this. I can see anyone involved, you know? Like, the reason why is that he was on drugs. Yes, he was feeding people drugs, but he was also taking them. And so people have risk factors. They have their lifestyle. They grow up. They learn how to adapt. They learn how to overcome. Any criminologist will tell you this. Any criminologist that actually knows what they're talking about, any psychoanalyst, they know exactly what it is. And so we can use that to give people better opportunities. And that, I think, is what Black Lives Matter should be about. And I don't think that it's healthy for us to go and just randomly create this massive program that you never know who's getting involved. And I mean, it's a good idea to activate like that. It's a good idea to organize like that. It's not a good idea to do that at the expense of domestic safety and domestic security. When Homeland Security starts coming after you, do you really think that's because a corrupt politician targeted you because of your race? You know, because of your message? No, it's not your message that is the major issue. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of corrupt politicians that'll do it if they can. But here in America, we have separation of powers, and most importantly, we have checks and balances. And there is enough programs intertwined, there is enough people in diverse offices, in diverse places of authority, whether they're in the shadows and you don't really know they're in authority, or whether they're just out in the open, you know, in an actual political office. There's so many people, like, just because you scream monster, monster, doesn't mean they're a monster. And just because you scream monster, monster, doesn't mean they're going to turn into one either. So, with that being said, there's a lot of hope to be had, but we need to calm down. And instead of making it a terroristic organization, especially now since Trump and you know, them are really getting on and designating certain groups terrorist groups, we need to understand that our conduct is what declares us whether we're terrorists or whether we're legitimate political movements and grassroots movements of various, you know, social causes and whatnot. So that's all I had to say for now, but I wanted to share that, and I think it would be a great idea, and I'm personally planning to get involved. And Daryl Davis is somebody who, a black man, if you look him up, that he's actually responsible for ministering essentially to the Ku Klux Klans. And he has actually had several of them turn in their robes to him directly, and I think we should get him involved too, if at all possible. I contacted him a few years ago and he wanted to do a Zoom call, but we never got around to it, and I wasn't in a place where I could. So, like, I want to do stuff like this. I want to do podcasts where we can sit there and interview people, interview Black Panthers, interview former KKK. We need to start coming together, and we need to realize that just because we have misunderstandings and just because we disagree, and we can agree to the point where it is shed blood, but if you can come together and you can start to realize that we've all killed each other, we've all spilled each other's blood, we've all taken the most sacred, whether it's possessions, whether it's success, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's lovers, no matter what it is, you know, we have all taken from each other, and we have to come together and realize that the war continuing is not the way to go. The war continuing is not the way to do things, people. We need to come together and we need to negotiate. I want to do the same thing with Israel and Hamas. I want to do the same thing with Ukraine and Russia. I want to do the same thing across the board with every major controversial entity and program. And so once we come together and we start doing that, we will see change in this world. We will see hope in this world. I want change for America. I want hope for America. I want unity for America. I want empowerment for America. But I also want it around the world. So I gotta go because I've been getting in trouble for taking too long on my deliveries. There's a lot of traffic. I don't want to accidentally miss my turn.